Bonjour, bonjour. Bonjour Jay, comment ça va? Ah, on est on est
Oh,
hi,
bonjour.
hi. Bonjour, comment ça va?
Bien, merci. Et toi?
Oui, je vais très bien. C'est dimanche, il fait beau, tout va bien.
Mhm.
Ok. Quoi de neuf? Il y a encore des gens. 11 personnes veulent venir. Je ne sais pas pourquoi ils ne réussissent pas. Mais on va voir. Quoi de neuf?
Pas beaucoup vraiment. Oui,
Oh, un instant. Oui. Vas-y, vas-y, je t'entends.
ok.
Oui. Seulement la lumière. Voilà. Oui.
Oui, je prends plaisir avec le temps,
Avec quoi?
la météo.
Ah, la météo, oui, le temps. Il fait beau. Est-ce qu'il fait frais dehors? Je ne suis pas sortie encore.
Pardon?
Non? Est-ce qu'il fait
Non.
frais? Je ne suis pas sortie encore.
Non, oui, oui.
Il fait frais?
Non, non, non.
Hmm. Tu es sortie dans le jardin?
Ah oui, ok.
Je suis jalouse.
Mhm.
Cette semaine,
Mhm.
tu travailles encore de chez toi?
Oui, oui.
Ça va bien?
Oui.
Ok. Super.
Mhm.
Quoi d'autre?
Ah, um, um,
Okay. Est-ce que tu vas aller quelque part aujourd'hui ou tu restes à la maison?
oui, je vais rester à la maison aujourd'hui. Euh, je dois, je vais ranger euh, des bureaux ou chambres dans ma maison parce que j'ai le temps.
Et parce que tu travailles de la maison, maintenant on a besoin de
Mhm.
on a besoin de beaucoup d'ordre dans la chambre que tu utilises pour ton bureau, non?
Oui, oui.
Est-ce que tu utilises ta propre chambre, ta chambre à coucher, ou tu as une autre chambre que tu utilises comme ton
Non, même temps, même chambre.
même chambre?
Mhm.
Oui.
Mais j'ai une petite chambre sous-sol.
Au sous-sol?
Au sous-sol, il s'appelle Crawl Space.
Mm.
Et pendant les années, nous mettions
Mhm.
quelque chose euh, sous-sol et dans la Crawl Space.
Mhm.
Et après quelques temps, il y a beaucoup de choses
Beaucoup de
et
choses. Beaucoup de choses.
beaucoup de choses. Et nous n'avons besoin pas de choses.
Nous n'avons pas besoin de choses.
Nous n'avons pas besoin de choses. Et, maintenant, nous pouvons les ranger
Les
ou
ranger, les ranger.
les ranger ou
Vous devez les ranger, les mettre. quelque part.
Ou se débarrasser.
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 Vous allez faire un nettoyage général.
Ah oui.
C'est beau. Moi, ici, j'habite ici dans un appartement et je n'ai plus le sous-sol, mais ça me manque parce que j'ai besoin de, comme tu dis, d'un espace où c'est plus éloigné des chambres à coucher, du salon, tu vois, parce que autrement, il y a des bruits dans le sous-sol, c'est beaucoup mieux des fois, mais ça peut être aussi très aggloméré. Le sous-sol peut devenir très aggloméré. Comme on met toutes les choses qu'on n'a plus besoin, dont on n'a plus besoin, non? Alors, ouais. Et alors, ça peut devenir un peu aggloméré. Mais si tu partages le sous-sol, je ne sais pas si vous avez une chambre dans le sous-sol, mais si on peut partager avec les rideaux. Moi, j'aime partager avec les rideaux. Ah. Bonjour, Joyce. Ah, elle ne peut pas. Bonjour, Joyce. Bonjour. Un instant, je dois prendre mes notes ici. Excuse. Oh, voilà. Bonjour, Joyce. Tu ne peux pas... Ah
Bonjour.
Oui. Bonjour. Comment ça va?
Très bien.
Ça va bien? So, Joyce, this is the first time that you're coming, and I welcome you. Thank you so much for doing so. I like to hold these sessions as if they were one-on-one, meaning I want to know about yourself. And so, do you mind telling me where are you calling from?
I'm on Long Island in New York.
New York. And can you tell or do you know what level you're at in French?
I'm a beginner. I'm a beginner.
Perfect. And why do you want to learn French, Joyce?
I have always wanted to learn French. I had tried when I was younger in high school, but it just didn't click with me because I didn't connect with the teacher. And when I went to France, I picked up a little bit that I could communicate reasonably well. I do have an acute love of the language, and I do plan on going back, and I would like to be able to communicate a little bit better than I had in the past.
Okay, perfect. So when you're trying to have conversations, what is your top 3 challenges? What are your top 3 challenges?
Well, I do have this fear inside me that I'm not communicating well, or that I'm not using pronunciation properly. And, I'm just a little embarrassed, I guess, that I'm going to appear like an idiot.
Got it. And any other, so I get pronunciation and any other things that make you feel like you are an idiot? What other things? Verbs?
Grammar is difficult for me.
Grammar.
Yeah. Composing a sentence and putting things together the proper way I always had difficulty with. I was able to get words, but then when I had to put them in a sentence, it fell apart for me.
So, yeah.
The masculine and feminine was always difficult for me.
Right.
I would always use the wrong word.
Okay. Fantastic.
And that's kind of where I would fall apart and lose it. And then it would, then I would be like, oh God, I can't do this. And then I would lose it. Those were my biggest challenges.
Okay, I understand. So would you say that pronunciation and phrase construction are the biggest challenges?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you're falling into the case of everybody who's coming here on this call or working with me, just so you know. So nothing particularly, scary about your challenges, for sure. So, hi.
Oh, there. Okay.
Yes,
I figured
fantastic.
Video.
You figured it out. That's fantastic.
Hi.
Hi. Jay, who's here on our call, he is high intermediate. We've been working for a while. So just so you know who else is on the, here he is. He's been working, I don't know what, a couple of years now, Jay?
Yes, about that, yeah.
So about that.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
And so there are different levels. I have these sessions inside of a program, DIY French. Most people are are working on DIYing their French. And the only thing that is missing from everybody's, I guess, the only thing that is missing for everybody in order to have conversations based on what they're learning on their own is what we just said, the pronunciation and phrase construction. And these are the calls that I have for groups for my clients, but now they are free because of COVID, and possibly this month I'm gonna have them still free. They will be split depending on the number of people, right? If there are more people, they will be split in beginner, intermediate, and advanced. At this point, I don't feel it's necessary. On the contrary, I follow the Montessori method, where the more advanced can actually help the one that is less advanced, and the less advanced learns how to learn from the more advanced person, and that works really well so far. But when there are going to be more people, then I'm going to have to split the group. So, Jay, do you mind if I have a little bit of conversation with Joyce? And you're welcome to jump in if there's anything that you want to say. Sure. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. So, because the reason these calls are with all levels is because, in my experience, pronunciation and phrase construction are the two big challenges, no matter the level.
Okay.
So the level of knowledge can be, like you said, I have the words, or I can have the words. There are books for grammar, there are books for vocabulary, and then there are books for verbs, right? And you can learn them. And I have clients who have their PhD in French and they still don't converse because it's a completely different approach. So would you like to, what do you want, how do you want to take advantage of this format?
However you think is best. Actually, you're the teacher.
Okay, I'm a coach, which is a little more than a teacher. So I'm trying to find you where you are at. And so I want, and my main goal in everything that I do, and Jay here is a witness of that, my main goal is to help you to be self-sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for you to be self-sufficient and to find your own way, and everybody's different, your own way to correct yourself in conversation, wherever you are, in the streets of Paris when you're going to go next, right? If you go to Paris, I don't know.
Right.
Then that is a skill that we have to take on. As in, like, we have to take the initiative. And now I'm doing my French, I'm doing my whatever it is. And the coach, which is me, she's here like Jimmy the Cricket on my shoulder to tell me where I'm going, how, to guide me. Right. So It's a different approach than a teacher or a tutor's approach, because you're doing most of the talking and most of the action.
Okay.
I'm guiding you so that you get the confidence, which is the number one thing that you need, right? You get the confidence to, oh, I get it now. I know how to correct myself. I know when this happens, what to do. I know, you know what I'm saying? And I'm jumping it. So if you are not uncomfortable with that, I would suggest that you start telling me something about, I don't know, your coffee or breakfast, anything that you're comfortable to just start speaking, start saying. This way I will catch the types of the errors that you're making, because everybody again is different, and I will help you to with techniques, strategies, things like that apply to you, and of course many more people that would listen, right? But you would actually get the driving seat, right, rather than letting yourself led by someone. Let's see. I would like to see if you're comfortable. If you're not comfortable, I can take another approach. That's fine.
Well, like if I were to go to a cafe and I wanted to order a cup of tea, how would I say that?
Can you try?
Well, I don't necessarily have the language. I don't know the words.
That's okay. So when you don't have the words, you're welcome to have a browser open. Are you on a computer or are you on a phone?
I'm on my iPad.
You're on the iPad. So is it possible for you to have a browser open, like a dictionary, or if you have a dictionary, paper dictionary?
Well, I have my phone here.
Oh, okay. So what I suggest is not to make words important. It's hard. It's very hard, because how do I speak without words, right? There's no way to speak without words. In the same time, if you think about it as when you practice, because when you're in the street at the cafe, you won't have the dictionary with you unless you do. Some people I see they have, and that's fine too, right? When you practice though, and you can do this on your own, as you do it with me right now, right? Just imagine that you have that conversation and you can write it down and you can look and then put the sentence together. If we would work together, with Jay again is witness here, I always suggest, well, write your, I'm
script
in the coffee. Yeah, your script, exactly. Correct it at the best of your ability. Don't go into a pronunciation. You can't anyway go anywhere for it. Phrase construction again, unless you translate the entire sentence, which I never recommend, just translate word for word. So find your words, which are again not important, those you can learn, and then try to put it together. And this is how you, by practice, you then learn how to put the sentence together in the proper way.
Okay. So, all right. So je voudrais un thé.
There we go. See, it wasn't hard at all. Je voudrais un thé. And in real life, whenever you go and ask for something, you always end with s'il vous plaît.
Right.
I'm sure you know. Yeah, for sure. So yes, fantastic.
I'm nervous.
I know you are. I am new. This format is new. I don't know if you've been ever in a group like that, and I completely understand. Trust me. I've worked for most of my life one-on-one, and groups are a completely different animal. And that's why I'm saying that I'm trying to make this group experience as if it was one-on-one. Jay, can you tell us, have I spoken with Joyce as if it was one-on-one, the way that we do our class, or how do you feel? Yeah. So, you know, that's exactly what I do, a one-on-one, because that's what people need, the exact attention to your particular situation, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So, je voudrais un thé, s'il vous plaît. Another thing that I would suggest, let's imagine the scene, right, as if we were in a movie. You enter the cafe, or not necessarily immediately when you enter, just say you're in a line. When you talk to the person, you also say bonjour before.
Of course.
Bonjour, je voudrais un thé, s'il vous plaît. And you're great, you're good to go. Yes?
Okay, well, I'm very pleased to hear that.
Yes, you're really, really good. And the only thing is the shyness and the nervousness. And another thing that I teach, because I coach, because I trained actor, and you know how you of course know well how actors have to learn skills in a very short amount of time, as if it was natural. And these are techniques that I apply to language, because language is a performing art. It is. We are expressing ourselves using someone else's words as if it was a script, right?
Right.
French is not your words. So what it boils down to is actually how we deal with this nervousness. Right? Because what happens is, in your case, let's just say you're at home by yourself and you are looking for these words. And I bet all my money that at home, without anyone watching, you would be okay saying this, because you are okay saying it here.
Right.
Yeah. So, but the feeling, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that once you get out of the house or wherever you're comfortable and you're practicing or you're learning, the words are just completely going out of your head, like they're flying out. That true?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And so the reason that happens is
I don't have to practice. I don't have anyone to practice with.
That's one reason, and that's correct. And
so
you can,
application is very difficult here in the States.
That's true. You can have a dress rehearsal, so to speak, with, like I said, writing on your own, speaking out loud, and that's just a dress rehearsal. It's really not a real thing. And you're right. On the other hand, apart from that, because I know people who practice enough, there's like no lack of practice, there is still the problem of nervousness. And that nervousness completely erases our, memory. So I know that, and I've been here, I'm in Toronto, I live here, I immigrated 20 some years ago, and yet when I'm highly emotional, my mother tongue comes through. So completely out, just comes, I don't even know, you know what I'm saying? And so that's just the way that we deal with that nervousness. But that's another story. And if you get my newsletters, you get some peaks, inside of my method, which hopefully will help you. But that's absolutely true. You can practice. Do you want to say anything else? Do you want to tell Jay something? Like, you guys don't know each other, right? So imagine that you are at a cafe, and hopefully normal, because I still believe that was normal, and it's continuing to be. It will continue to be a normal, because for 2,000 years we had that normal. In the cafes in France, you really strike conversations between tables and with strangers. So imagine that you guys are meeting at in a coffee shop, and you want to strike out a conversation. So take your time. Nobody's rushing you in any way.
Okay.
So let's say Joyce starts. And let's see, what would you say to a stranger in the coffee shop?
I would say, bonjour. Je m'appelle Joie. Comment allez-vous?
Jay?
Oui, bonjour, je m'appelle Jay. Je viens de Mississauga.
Jay, she asked you, how are you, right?
Je suis très bien.
Je vais très bien.
Je vais très bien. Et toi?
Et toi? Yeah, so just considering the fact that you guys don't know each other. Yes, perfect.
Je suis très bien.
Je vais très bien. So just a little pause, Joyce, and for both, because you both made the same, well, I'm not going to call it mistake. It comes from English, right? I am well, right? So je suis très bien. He also said je suis bien. And so in English is I am, and in French is like, how is it going? You see, we also have that in English. How is it going? It's going well, right? So it's with the verb aller. Je vais. Comment vas-tu? Comment allez-vous? Right? So it's with aller. So just a reference from English. Always use English. By the way, Joyce, I don't really know if anybody told you that you should think in French, because that's impossible biologically. Brain doesn't work that way. So use your English as much as you can, and notice when you can use it and when it doesn't work to use it. Not always will it work, obviously, but use what you can. So in English, use that, right? How is it going? To try to remind yourself that when I'm asking someone, how are you? I am okay, right? Is with aller.
Okay.
So you were answering to him. I apologize, I interrupted.
So je vais bien.
So now let's think about something like your plans. Imagine which cafe you are, because you've been there. Jay hasn't been in Paris yet, so maybe we don't go too much into details of Paris, but maybe you talk about what you want to visit or what you already visited, or about your day simply. I have a coffee, I like to drink this, or tea, you said, sorry. Things that you know how to talk about. So going back to your point, your pain point, right, Joyce? We said that you have nobody to practice with, right?
Right.
And I told you that there is a way to, unless you want to come in this environment or you want to work with me or with someone else, that's fine, to actually practice. A dress rehearsal, a very good one, is speaking out loud and role playing.
Sure.
For yourself. It's like a mandatory thing if you want to, for this to work well and quickly, to speak out loud. Everything you do in French, speak out loud, so that you train
get the ear
and train the muscles of your mouth. Everybody knows this story by now. And sometimes I worry that I tell it too often times. As an actor, Anthony Hopkins, for instance, he says this, that he runs his lines 250 times. Well, I had to run my lines 250 times to put English into my mouth first, just the practice, so that a word comes after the other smoothly, rather than me looking for the pronunciation, which you may relate to. And so I was doing that before going to what he was doing 250 times for the role itself. Because if this is literally physical, right? I mean, it's just like, imagine a dance, right? At the beginning, the steps, you have to do it this way, and to go Fred Astaire, you really have to practice it very, very many times, so that it's a muscle memory, and it will be a muscle sense memory and muscle memory. And if you don't know about sense memory, I do have resources about that, right? So that would be your dress rehearsal. Speak out loud. So let's see with Jay. What would you say? Something that, again, that was my point. To use words that you know, like you do. You already have vocabulary. You're just shy to use it. And at home, you may not be that shy. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm an introvert in, like personality. So even just having a conversation with someone is difficult sometimes.
I understand. I do. I really do. I'm an extrovert introvert. I'm an extroverted introvert. So we take our energy in solitude. And that's why we need to practice so much more inside of our solitudes in order for us to be okay to ride the wave, right? Yeah.
Right.
So that's the reason why you don't want to put yourself into an even more uncomfortable situation, meaning even more unknown words. So when you go out at a coffee shop, you may not strike out the conversation like you did here because you're an introvert, but someone may start the conversation with you, and you may think, I'm an introvert. I really don't care about talking right now. I just want to enjoy my tea. However, this is my one chance to practice my language. Otherwise, how would I do it? Right?
Right.
So you will put yourself into a more uncomfortable, outside of your comfort zone, I should say.
Right.
You will, because you want to. You want to practice the language.
Right.
Okay, but what I would suggest too is that you don't go for words that are not coming to you. So try to stay inside of your vocabulary as much as you can. So then attack subjects, topics that are based on the words that are coming to you, rather than, I want to talk about that. Oh my God, what is that word? And having to reach out for the word. Into an even a more uncomfortable situation. What we're trying here, I'm not saying don't put yourself into, you're already putting yourself into outside of the comfort zone. So I commend you very much for that, right? So I'm not saying that you're not doing that. I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't do that.
I almost didn't come here like 3 times.
For sure. And I know,
Yeah.
I see 11 people signed up to come. And I exactly know, because that's the reason I did more one-on-one before. But now I see that more people like yourself are trying to have, conversations, to try to practice. And I feel that offering you the opportunity of having because you could work with me, for instance, and so you'll get used to the way I speak, but that's not enough. You go out there and someone else will speak in a different way to you, right? So
Right.
there's a skill of adjusting to a person onto another or to another. Yeah. So this is what this is. And yeah, so my point again was, talk about something you're so comfortable with, even if it's really, if it feels dumb, like, oh, this juice is pink or something, it
Right.
doesn't matter. What you say doesn't matter where you practice, because your goal number one is what you said at the beginning. You want to learn how to put the sentences together and the pronunciation. By the way, your pronunciation is really good.
Oh, good. Thank you.
So let's see. You start now with something that you're comfortable with. Anything. Like I said, I breathe air. My tea is pink. It doesn't really matter at all what you say.
Well, what is the word for this?
You can look up the words.
Okay.
I suggest that you do. It's much better than you get used to doing it and getting out of that. Ugh, I hate looking up the words.
Right.
I know, because I have it. I'm learning Italian, Spanish, and now Swedish lately. I don't know why I want to do that, but it's hard. So this is a habit that I invite you to stick to. Looking up words, verbs, anything that you don't remember. Anything. They'll stick eventually.
Right. Usually I end up asking them if they speak English. And I'm trying to avoid that.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Everybody does, and it's normal. But you're trying to get out of that. Right. So when you're looking up words, again, absolutely mandatory. Wherever it is that you're looking, even Google, I don't care. Google gives words, so that's okay. But look up one word at a time. Do not plug in the entire sentence, because you're learning how to do that, right?
I have to put this down. So you have to look at my ceiling.
It's very pretty.
Switch languages. So it's telling me. So it would be C'était a large, a grande.
Okay. C'était un grande.
C'était un grande. C'était a grande.
Is that your sentence?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you want to say?
The tea is large.
Ah.
This tea is large.
Very nice. Okay, cool. Let's say that again.
C'était a grande. C'était a grande.
Okay. You said something about genders, and I would like to talk a little bit about that, because this has to do with genders. Because c'était a grand will be, if you say grande, do you speak any Spanish?
No.
No. So grand would end in the D, and so the last consonant is silent. So if you did the pronunciation course that I have, you'd learn all these little tricks. So the final consonant usually is silent. We have exceptions, but that is kind of the rule of thumb. And so that would, because it's masculine. And that's the reason I didn't, well, I knew that you were saying grand because grande, it's, yeah. But c'était, you said c'était, yes?
Yeah.
C'était. So try to, for you at this level that you're at right now with the pronunciation, try to separate the words so that you're clear. Because when you say c'était, I understood c'était. Right, Jay? Did you understand that? C'était?
Yep.
Yeah, c'était. Which means this was, right? C apostrophe E-T-A-I-S, right? That would have been a tense that I don't feel that you would have known, which is imperfect. So I had to go back into the more basics to figure out what you wanted to say. That's just because I know your level. In a real life situation, people wouldn't know your level, right? So for that reason, you need to help them by staying into your mindset of I need to be clear, and to be clear I have to separate words, right? So don't go for liaison, don't go for things that you necessarily hear the natives, because not knowing the rules of pronunciation, it won't be very clear. So that would be a technique for you if you like just went today in Paris or talked to someone so that you're clear. So it would be c'était et grand. Genders, because you told me about genders, and I want you to end to have something from, like, really something concrete from this session. Genders are not something apart from the word. Genders in French, Spanish, Italian, Romanian, German, you give me the language, whichever language has genders, the gender is part of the word. So when you say, for instance, livre, what does that mean to you? Livre.
I don't know.
Oh, you don't? Book? Do you know how to say
okay,
book?
right, yes.
Book. Okay, perfect. So livre, you may say, oh, it's book. In fact, le livre, you know that le is masculine. Le livre is the book, and la livre is the pound, 454 grams. Okay? So livre really doesn't mean anything, because it doesn't. So if you start having if you take the words in such a way that you consider that they are made out of two words, really, in French, each word needs to have the gender. Otherwise, you're not sure. I have a list of 85 words that mean something with feminine and something else with masculine. You can get into that. And it's not just the word itself, but notice how we're saying grande, that grande was feminine. I don't think that you actually made that connection, but just to tell you.
No, I did not. Yeah.
So grande would be because in order for me to pronounce that final D, I would have to have a Y at the end. Again, that's a rule of pronunciation. So If it would be grande and c'était, it would confuse me because té is masculine and grande is feminine. But in order for you to learn the genders from now on and forever, whenever you find a word that you don't know, you want to learn, write it down like this: le livre equals the book. And don't skip the word the there. Because if we have le livre, 2 words on one side, and the book, 2 words on the other side, the brain can map them easier and memorize them faster. Does it make sense to you?
Yes.
So when you find a word that you know, like te, you know te. We know that for sure because you used it.
Yes.
So te doesn't mean tea. Le te means the tea. So if you just have this shift of approach, that's going to save you years. I mean, I have people with master degrees and still, oh my God, I don't know the gender, because this rule and that rule, there are very many rules for genders, and yet they all are putting you to sleep because forcing you to think about the rules. You're outside of conversation, right? Rather, take when you practice home the word and always memorize it with its gender, because for instance, tiger in French is masculine, in Italian is feminine. So there is no rule.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. It's just memorization. The way you memorize a word, oh, thé is tea, or chambre is room, or pain is bread. Memorize it. Le pain is the bread. La chambre is the room. And make that shift. And I would love to hear in the near future how that worked for you, if that's helping.
Okay, yeah.
I would love
if I
that.
memorize the word, memorize the gender.
Memorize with the gender, so never take away. So if you have the word and you're not sure of the gender, don't even use it before you write down with the gender, because like I told you, always look up the word. That's the one thing that everybody dreads, me included, but that's the only way, done consistently, that will help you with vocabulary and genders. Does it make sense? Okay, perfect.
Yes.
So now tell Jay that the T is big.
Sauté est grande.
Very nice. Beautiful. Jay, do you have to say anything to that? Maybe you ask her if she likes it.
Okay. Est-ce que tu l'aimes?
We're still into vous.
Oh, okay, sorry. Est-ce que vous aimez?
Vous l'aimez?
Vous l'aimez?
Mm-hmm. So, Joyce, do you have any answer for that? Take your time. And if you don't have a word, look it up.
Yep.
Perfect. We're getting comfortable.
Oh my goodness. I don't like this Translate app.
Just a word. It must give you a word.
Yeah. It came up with delicio.
Yeah.
Delici.
Take your time. And slow down so that it will come out easier. So look at me speaking English. Look at me speaking English. And I did it really so that I can have all the vowels right. And this is the problem in all languages. If I can do that in English, and I never rush beyond what I can
enunciate.
really.
Yeah.
So lengthen your vowels, because there's a vowel that you can't quite hook yet.
Right. So it's très délicieux.
Very nice. Very nice. Now, another thing, the first vowel after D, is what?
Yeah. I.
Is it?
D-E-L-I-C-I-E-U-X.
It should be D-E.
Yeah, D-E-L.
Okay. So if it's D-E, does it have an accent?
Yes.
How do we pronounce the E with an accent? Think of a word that you really know well how to pronounce that has E with an accent. How do you say baby?
Be.
Yes. So
Bebe?
that, yes, perfect. So that E, like in the word egg, right? Put it now after D in your word now.
Délicieux.
Délicieux, perfection. So the reason that happens to everybody, Anglophones, because you see E, you say E, right? Yeah, but that's the habit to get into, right? When you slow down is when you give your brain enough bandwidth to think all these things. Just if you drive, you may remember that at the very beginning, I know I have thought that I don't have enough hands and feet and eyes, because I also learned standards, and so there you really need both feet. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how do I do this? However, naturally, and now it's like my coat. You know what I'm saying? And so it needs to be a little bit of that. That's why we slow down, so that our brain has time to think every single element through.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So lengthening the vowel also makes it sound a little more French, because French has longer vowels. So
right. The nervousness makes you want to rush.
Of course, because you want to get it over with. Yeah. You want to get it over with. And you hope that they'll understand from the context, but sometimes it's a little harder.
Right.
Completely understand. Yes. So you said c'est délicieux. And Jay, do you have any remark or anything to say to that? Or maybe you tell her what you're drinking or whatever. Imagine you're in a coffee shop.
Okay, let's see. Quel type est-il? Le thé?
Quel type de thé?
Oui, quel type de thé?
Did you understand that, Joyce?
No. He asked me a question about my tea.
Yeah. What kind is it? Like what flavor?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, but the word in French was quel type, the type, right? But it's the same word in French and English. What type of tea? But type is T-Y-P-E, same spelling. Only it has to be French, and you can't say type. You say type.
Type. Okay.
Okay. Quel type de thé?
C'est noir.
C'est noir.
Noir.
Yeah, perfect. Jay, do you drink anything?
Oui, je bois, j'ai bu du café habituellement. Je prends ma café noir.
Mon café.
Mon café noir.
How much did you understand, Joyce?
He's drinking coffee. And that's about it.
Noir, so black coffee.
Black coffee. Oh, okay.
So noir, like your tea is black and his coffee is black. It's interesting, and I don't know how much it's because of the environment and the sounds, because it may not be very clear for you. But it's interesting, see how when the word comes from someone else, you don't catch it, although you just used it.
Right.
Noir. And the reason that is, and correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm going to, look for another explanation. But I have the feeling that you're not speaking out loud much with your French.
Me? That's correct.
Oh, okay. So that is the huge value of speaking out loud. Everything French, everything. You read, you write, you listen, you watch. Whatever you catch and you can say out loud, make it a mission. Because you doing that helps you hear other people. Listening to radio, TV, because a lot of people are saying, oh, just keep it in the background. Trust me, I came to Canada fluent in English, and yet I wasn't understanding the bus drivers, nor did they understand me. So I was very frustrated because I thought that I would fail every interview in sight. So it's completely desperate. And everybody, my friends who were, immigrants as well, were telling me, oh, the best thing is just to keep your radio, TV and everything in the background and you will get used to it. Yes, you do. You do get used to it, but in a very passive way. There's no way you're catching, and especially when our brain is lazy, That's why thinking in French, it's a form of the brain's laziness, because if you speak enough long time or fast enough, the brain will give up and say, you know what, I'm working too hard. I'm no longer going to translate from one to another. I'm going to stay into this because you, chica, you're speaking way too much for me. I'm lazy. I want to just sit in my chair and drink beer. I don't know, just up a story. If your brain is a guy. Just a story so that you remember these things and it's not boring, right? But that's the thing. So everybody says, and I hear and I see everywhere, well, just keep things in the background. That doesn't help, because the brain will think it's thoughts and it will just completely block out what doesn't make sense, because it won't make sense, especially if you don't look at if you don't look at the show to make sense of the words. It just doesn't work. The only thing that really works is if you're watching French something with French subtitles. Right. And even then, it's going to build your vocabulary, and that's it. It will not help the other side of the brain and our body system that actually helps with performing it. It's just completely not in the realm of I'm going to say it. It's still in the comfort zone of I'm listening, I'm cool, I'm chill, I don't have to do anything. You know what I'm saying? But when you are speaking, not only are you practicing the muscles of the mouth and everything, but you're practicing the ear, and our ear needs to grow some receptacles for new sounds. And hearing it from someone else, again, is passive. You have to do or you don't have to do something about it. It's a choice. But when you are saying it, you better understand what you're saying. It's really much more immediate when you are saying to yourself. Right. When you are saying it out loud, the brain will have, wait a second, what have I said? But when someone else says, you can block it out, or you can just glaze over, right? Okay, how are you again? So you can just get yourself out of the trouble. So yeah, so tell me, Joy, Jay, we're going to have a little bit of a chat about how this was for you when we meet on Wednesday. But Joyce, I would like to ask you, how was this for you, and what brought up for you? What was helpful? What was not helpful?
Oh, I very much enjoyed it. Thank you very much. It got me over some of my fear a little bit. I'd like to come back again, and I will. It's made me want to practice more, which is huge. And it's just the ability to be able to have conversation with someone and make it real. you know, to bring it back into my life rather than just me walking around the house saying French words and looking at something and saying it in French. It applies it to my life.
Fantastic.
And I do have some other friends who are also, you know, learning, so I might be able to have conversations with them in the future.
Amazing.
Which would be really super fun.
Absolutely.
And I'm really excited again to have the opportunity to learn it and, you know, maybe let it stick this time.
Yes, of course. And I have a tip for you too, actually. First of all, having conversations with your friends, it's a really good thing to do up to a certain point, because if the environment doesn't allow you to have any guidance or correction, the danger is that it would reinforce your habits rather than improving. Okay,
poor
so
habits.
Just take it with a grain of salt. It's a great practice, just needs to be limited. You can't just rely on it, because unless you really are fluent, or people who work with me are not necessarily getting to the point of full fluency, but what they do, they end up knowing how to correct themselves. You see, because when I correct, notice what I did here. I corrected you in the sense, both of you, in the sense of, oh wait, how do you, so giving you questions that you can use for yourself. Oh wait, do I know this gender? Oh, it's not. What could it, so things like that. Techniques of self-correction inside of your conversation, in the middle of conversation, slowing down and things like that. And you said something else that I wanted to give you. Oh yeah, and another thing that I really strongly recommend is, because you said walking in the house and saying French words. I strongly recommend that you don't say just words. Make sentences. And the most important part of it is make sentences that are real to your life. Don't make sentences. So if I'm drinking, this is a smoothie and this is a pink smoothie and I know what I put in it, I'm not going to say that's pineapple martini or whatever. Or, you know what I'm saying? There's a coffee, it's a decaf. I'm not going to say it's espresso. So it's very important when you make the sentences, take the sentences from your real life. And if you don't know how to say, look up the words. Again, words are not the most important part, period. They can be learned, but you don't do much with them, right? So look them up and make the sentences, make little stories, write little scripts, but they need to be real life. So, and if you don't have something that has happened, that happens, that will happen, go into the realm of that you like to happen. Make that emotionally charged for you, right? So that you will want to be accurate to the reality that you want to express. Even if you're in the, isolation of your own room, it doesn't matter, as long as it reflects your life. First of all, you get that juice going, the emotion, the everything that raises the stakes, and you get used to how to deal with that emotion. Home, still an emotion, right? It's a much smaller than if you were speaking with someone else, but it's still a practice to make it in. And then neuroscience tells us that information plus emotion is literally carving into the brain. It helps us memorize, and you'll end up with some script that it's going to be real, and you can actually say in a situation when you're going to go in a coffee shop and some guy approaches you, because you won't. Some guy approaches you with a conversation at a coffee shop, and then you'll have words, sentences already not prepared, but practiced about your real life that you can then talk about. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Did this help?
Yes, very much. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so happy. So let us know next time if you're coming. I hope that Jay will also come along. Yeah, fantastic. And I think this month I'm still going to offer this for free. So please come along and, we'll play a little more.
Thank you. Merci, Jay.
Okay, merci.
Merci à vous. Bonne journée.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.